Ohio. Shkodra, the city in Albania located on the bank of Lake Shkodra in 20 came from the coast of the Adriatic Sea near confluence Drin and Browns. In 13 came from the city the frontier with Montenegro lies. Is the administrative center of the Shkodra area and the district of Shkodra. Shkodra, the fourth largest city in Albania. As of 2011, the population of the city makes people. Shkodra, one of the most ancient and most known cities of Albania with the rich historical and cultural heritage. Now is also the main economic center of northern Albania. The Albanian name of the city Shkodra as well as Slavic Shkodra, according to the most widespread version, comes from the Latin word Scutari that in the literal translation means defenders, and belonged to the legion which was located here during the late Roman period. Shkodrski fortress was put in the 4th century BB by the Illyrian tribe of Labit. In 168 the city was occupied by Romans, then began to develop as the important trade and military center. No later than the 7th century AD in the neighborhood of the city Slavic tribes began to lodge actively. Further the city was included into limits of large Slavic state formation of Dukel, with the center in modern Montenegro. The history of the city of the 10th-15th centuries is closely connected with development of the medieval Serbian states of Raška and Zeta. In 1479 the city was occupied by Turks, before it having sustained 2 large sieges of 1474 and 1478. The Albanian prince Lika Dukadini, Georgi Skanderbega's follower, directed resistance to Turks. The city was ruined and the most part of the population ran. Within the Ottoman Empire, Shkodra was the center at first of the vilayet of the same name, and then a Sandakoka, remaining throughout all Ottoman period the important political and administrative, military, craft and shopping center widely known on all Balkan Peninsula and in Italy. From 1757 to 1831 Shkodra was the capital of the Shkodrski Pachalik led by Bushoti's dynasty and actually disappeared from the Ottoman Empire, being to her only informal dependence. In the 18th-19th centuries Shkodrski governors, both true port and rising against her, were almost in the constant military conflicts with the neighboring Montenegro, which gradually expanded the borders at the expense of the Shkodrski Pachalik. In this regard, since 1840, the 1850th Shkodra took the important place within East question, and in is mute where diplomatic missions of all great powers are open. In the 19th century Shkodra becomes one of the most important centers of cultural and political revival of Albanians. Exactly here the first Albanian newspapers and magazines were issued. At the same time Shkodra was the key center of Catholic promotion in northern Albania. There was a residence of the Catholic Archbishop. In 1867 in Shkodra the Catholic Cathedral was constructed. During the First Balkan War of 1912 Shkodra was attacked by Montenegro and Serbian troops. Having got beaten in storm attempt, Montenegrins started a systematic siege. The Albanian aristocrat Esad Pasha Toptani, hating Turks in general and Mladi Turek in particular, was the chief of Shkodrski garrison. He didn't interfere with the anti-Turkish revolt which broke out in Merdita and the central Albania at all. The revolt was organized with assistance of the Kingdom of Montenegro, which emissaries carried out communication with insurgents through Shkodra. Careful and prudent Esad Pasha waited for a right moment to turn weapon against the Ottoman Empire. The whole 7 months he successfully defended Shkodra. Over 1,000 Montenegrins laid down their life under his walls. At last in April 1913 Pasha Shkodra Scutari handed over fortress to the Crown Prince of Montenegro Danila Petrovic Negosh, having concluded the agreement with Montenegro Command according to which I removed all staff entrusted to him with weapon and ammunition and joined the Albanian insurgents in the central Albania. According to plans of Serbia, Shkodra had to be attached to it as a part of Old Serbia together with Metohija, Kosovo and also Northern Macedonia. Existence of a large number of the indigenous Serbian people as in the city, so in his vicinities was one of the bases to it. However, according to the decision of the London Conference of Great Powers in May 1913, Shkodra was a part of the neogenic state of Albania. During World War I, Shkodra was under occupation from Austria-Hungary. 1916-1918. In 1918 it was released by the French troops, and in 1919 it is again transferred to Albania. During the interwar period in Shkodra, development of the food, textile and cement industry began. On a census of 1924, 20,000 people, in 1938 already 29,000 lived in the city. During the first rule of communistic Shkodra I was the large center of anti-communist opposition. In September 1946 the city was attacked by post-Tripski insurgents. Now Shkodra, important industrial and education center. In the city the mechanical engineering, textile production and production of electronics and also the food industry is developed. In the city there are a university, library, 250,000 volumes, theater, art gallery, the historical museum. The most part of the population is made by ethnic Albanians and Slavs who are almost completely assimilated by them. Unlike the central and southern Albania, the big place in modern Shkodra's life and his district still plays Catholicism, which is professed by a considerable part of the population. In terms of tourism, the city is developed insufficiently. However, thanks to the close neighborhood of Montenegro, tourism industry begins to play more and more important role. The main tourist attraction of the city is the Shkodrski fortress, which, despite numerous destructions and reorganizations, well remained. Famous natives of Shkodra: Idromeno Kola, 1860-1939. The Albanian painter, the architect, the photographer who is considered as the founder of the Albanian school of realistic painting. Nasruddin al-Albani, famous Islamic scientist theologian. Ramiz Elijah, last communistic leader of Albania. Lydia of Seoul, writer. Fist poet. Gurkuk Luid, the linguist adapting the Latin alphabet for Albanian. Jari Javavalin, 1899-1974. The Albanian engineer, bridge builder, the prominent expert in the field of design and construction of bridges. Nikol Kalichi, Catholic cardinal. Peter Kalanjij Marubi, photographers. Mijeni, Albanian poet and writer. Alfred Moisi, President of Albania. Sander Prosi, 1920-1985. Stage and film actor, professor, people's artist of Albania. Mustafa Tuke, writer, playwright. Zefi Boni, 1818-1880. Specialist in folklore, educator, figure of the National Renaissance. Al-Qaeda Doni, the Albanian and Italian singer, the winner of the first season of The Voice of Italy, the representative of Albania on the Eurovision of 2015. Sites: Theatre in Shkodra, Shkodrski Fortress, Luju Gurakuchi's monument in Shkodra. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.